As the king and queen leave the thrones and head for the exit of Westminster Abbey on the coronation Saturday, you'll see that everyone bows and curtsies to the king, and no one moves a limb, a muscle, when Camilla passes.
Could this be the most shocking moment in recent royal history? Moments ago, inside the grand halls of Buckingham Palace, King Charles collapsed unexpectedly, leaving everyone in sheer panic. Medical teams rushed in, aides shouted, and a hush fell over the corridors. But the real question lingers. What did he just discover about Queen Camilla that struck him so deeply? Sources reveal that the king was confronted with a secret so severe it shook him to the core. Insiders are calling it the most serious royal emergency in decades. Was it a betrayal, a hidden misstep, or something far more personal? What unfolded in those private chambers has left even senior staff scrambling to manage the fallout. Some eyewitnesses describe the scene: the king faltering mid-step, color draining from his face, aides surrounding him as urgency filled every corner of the palace. Camilla's reaction, a mix of fear and confusion, only added to the mounting tension. Meanwhile, whispers of the incident are already spreading through the media and social platforms, fueling speculation and disbelief. As the palace tries to contain the story, one thing is clear: the monarchy has just faced a moment that could redefine its course. Stay with us as we uncover the full truth behind King Charles's shocking collapse and what Camilla really did. The collapse, a moment that stopped time. It happened suddenly, without warning. King Charles was making his way toward a private briefing, steps measured, as he always moved with the calm authority expected of a monarch. But staff noticed something unusual. His gait faltered ever so slightly, his hands tightened at his sides, and his usual composed expression began to shift. His face drained of color, lips pale, eyes flickering with something no one had seen before. Within seconds, he stumbled, his knees buckling as though the weight of the crown itself had grown too heavy. Guards and aides rushed forward, hands reaching out instinctively to steady him. Some initially thought it might be a minor fainting spell, perhaps a brief dizziness, but it was far more serious than anyone could have anticipated. The palace medical team arrived within minutes, but it felt like an eternity. Doctors knelt beside him, checking his pulse, reading his vitals, and quickly handing him oxygen. Tension filled the room like a heavy fog. Camilla, appearing unexpectedly at the top of the grand staircase, was in visible distress. Tears streamed down her face as she called out, "Is he all right? Tell me he's okay." Her voice echoed in the grand halls, amplifying the anxiety of every person present. Couriers dashed through the corridors, alerting William, Kate, Harry, and senior staff. Within moments, a quiet lockdown enveloped Buckingham Palace, as though the building itself had sensed the gravity of the situation. Staff moved swiftly, closing doors, whispering instructions, yet every corner of the palace seemed tense with anticipation. Outside, the world reacted almost instantly. News cameras flashed relentlessly, capturing fleeting glimpses of commotion through the palace gates. Social media ignited speculation. Was it a sudden health issue, a hidden illness finally catching up to the king, or something far more dramatic, a psychological shock, a secret too heavy to bear? Headlines began to appear even before official statements could be drafted. The palace maintained silence, but the whispers started leaking through, rumors blending with facts, creating a storm of confusion and intrigue. Sources inside the palace reveal that Charles had been battling fatigue for months. His demanding schedule, continuous engagements, and the relentless mental strain of ruling had already taken a toll. Late nights reviewing confidential reports, meetings packed back to back, and endless ceremonial duties left him running on sheer willpower. But nothing could have prepared him for the revelation he had just confronted: a discovery about Camilla that struck at the very core of his trust and confidence. Insiders described the moment as almost cinematic. A pause, a look of disbelief, a sudden falter, and then the collapse that would shock the entire palace. This was more than a personal health incident. It was a story unfolding in real time with layers of emotion, politics, and public attention all intertwined. Every movement was scrutinized. Every reaction is analyzed. As Charles lay under medical care,
King Charles has given an update on his cancer journey as he met with patients at a hospital opening in Birmingham.
the gaze of the world shifted toward Camilla, whose secret now dominated speculation. The questions everyone whispered, what did she do, and why would it shake the king so deeply, were suddenly urgent and unavoidable. In that moment, the palace felt fragile, the monarchy humanized, and the balance of power suspended on a fragile thread, as history watched closely from every corner of the globe. Camilla's secret. What really happened? Whispers had been circulating inside Buckingham Palace for weeks, subtle at first, almost imperceptible. A folded note left in the wrong place, a private meeting that ran longer than expected, a glance between aides that lasted too long. These small signs went mostly unnoticed by the public. But behind the palace walls, something was brewing. Sources now claim that Camilla had been involved in actions deliberately kept away from prying eyes, moves that were quietly documented, tracked, and noted by those closest to the monarchy. Allegedly, confidential documents, some containing sensitive state information, were accessed, copied, or transferred in ways that broke long-standing protocols. Financial irregularities, secret correspondences, and private memos became the focus of intense scrutiny. A whistleblower, someone trusted within the inner palace circle, began noticing unusual activity. Meetings were scheduled at odd times, papers moved in unexpected ways, and emails or what remained of private correspondences appeared in strange locations. Patterns that would normally go unnoticed over months suddenly became glaring. One aide reportedly observed these anomalies and carefully tracked them, documenting small details that slowly built into a bigger picture. The evidence hinted not at carelessness, but at a deliberate and calculated approach, though the exact motive remained unclear. When King Charles discovered this, insiders describe a man visibly shaken. It wasn't just a procedural or administrative concern, this was personal. His reaction suggested that trust, which forms the foundation of both a marriage and a monarchy, had been compromised in a way that words could barely capture. Camilla, on the other hand, appeared caught between confusion, fear, and denial. Some palace aides say she insisted that everything she had done fell within legal and ethical boundaries, citing duty, loyalty, and long-standing tradition as justification. But Charles's expression, his sudden falter, suggested that the revelation went far beyond rules and legality. It struck at the emotional heart of the king. The secrecy around the scandal only amplified public curiosity. As rumors began leaking, social media became a storm center. Speculation ranged from questions about misuse of confidential information to theories about personal agendas. Every unanswered question sparked debate, fueled by limited information and the palace's carefully measured silence. The media, starved for clarity, pieced together narratives that often contradicted each other, leaving the public desperate for answers. Every tweet, post, or discussion seemed to add pressure, turning a private betrayal into a global fascination. Insiders claim the timing of the revelation was particularly devastating. The king had planned to address routine matters, perhaps matters of state or ceremonial obligations, only to be blindsided by the truth. The weight of the monarchy, combined with personal shock, created a moment that became more than just a scandal. It symbolized the fragility, pressure, and human vulnerability behind royal life. Observers suggest this wasn't simply about documents, emails, or money. It was a deeply emotional confrontation with betrayal and trust, magnified by the unblinking gaze of the world. Every reaction, every glance, every whispered conversation inside the palace now carried weight. Staff scrambled to assess damage control, to maintain appearances, to protect both the king and the institution he represented. The unfolding drama wasn't just about what Camilla did. It was about the consequences, the emotional aftermath, and how one revelation could ripple through an entire monarchy. For Charles, the moment crystallized months, perhaps years, of stress and fatigue, all converging into a single, undeniable shock that left everyone around him holding their breath. Health and emotional toll. Why the collapse was inevitable. King Charles's collapse was not a random occurrence, nor was it a simple moment of fainting that could be brushed off as an isolated incident. Behind the stoic composure that the public always saw, there had been months, possibly years, of silent struggle. Sources close to the palace reveal that Charles had been quietly managing several significant health challenges throughout the year. Earlier in the year, he underwent medical treatments that, while largely successful, left him drained and fatigued in ways that only those close to him fully understood. These were not mere minor procedures. They required physical resilience and mental endurance, both of which were taxed repeatedly in the relentless schedule of a reigning monarch. Every day, Charles juggled a staggering number of responsibilities: public appearances, ceremonial duties, diplomatic engagements, private briefings, and administrative oversight combined to create constant pressure. Even the smallest slip in protocol or delay in response could carry consequences, and the king bore all of this on his shoulders. Physical exhaustion alone would have made him vulnerable to a collapse, but the reality was far more complex. Emotional and psychological strain layered on top of fatigue created a perfect storm waiting to happen. Psychologists and royal health insiders note that emotional trauma can magnify physical weaknesses. A sudden shock, particularly one involving betrayal by someone as close as Camilla, could trigger acute stress responses, spikes in blood pressure, rapid heart rate, dizziness, and even fainting. The human body, no matter how disciplined or conditioned, can reach its limit when both physical and emotional pressures collide. Observers of recent royal events had already noticed subtle hints of cumulative fatigue. During formal ceremonies and public appearances, Charles had occasionally paused mid-step, his posture momentarily faltering. Some witnesses described his complexion as unusually pale, while others noted a sense of weariness in his expressions and gestures. These were not mere quirks of the moment, they were signs of a body and mind under continuous strain. For those paying attention, it was clear that the king was operating on the edge of his endurance. The collapse was therefore not an abrupt anomaly, but the inevitable culmination of months of mounting pressure. Palace aides confirmed that measures had been considered to alleviate some of this strain. Plans were in place to reduce public engagements, prioritize rest, and monitor his health more closely. Yet, these interventions could not anticipate the sudden revelation that would strike at his core, the discovery of Camilla's actions. For Charles, the knowledge of betrayal from someone he trusted most acted as a catalyst, pushing his already taxed body and mind over the edge. The intersection of prior fatigue, ongoing health concerns, and the emotional shock created a perfect storm that left him momentarily incapacitated. This episode underscores a harsh but undeniable reality about monarchy. No matter how composed or seemingly unshakable a king may appear in public, human vulnerability cannot be masked indefinitely. The crown may project strength, stability, and authority, but beneath the pageantry lies a deeply human individual, susceptible to the same frailties as anyone else. In Charles's case, the combination of physical exhaustion, pre-existing medical conditions, and emotional betrayal exposed the monarchy's human side dramatically and unavoidably. It revealed not only the immense pressures of leadership, but also the personal toll that secrecy, duty, and trust can exact on those at the very heart of power. Every moment following the collapse, from aides rushing to his side, to medical interventions, to the ripple of concern across the palace, highlighted the delicate balance a monarch must maintain. One revelation, one emotional blow, could disrupt the equilibrium entirely. And in this case, the truth about Camilla's actions became the fulcrum on which Charles's health, the palace's stability, and public confidence teetered precariously. The collapse, while shocking, was the inevitable intersection of health, responsibility, and betrayal, a stark reminder that even kings are human. William and Kate step in. The next generation takes charge. Within hours of King Charles's collapse, William and Kate sprang into action, responding with precision and composure that seemed almost instinctive. Reports indicate that William abruptly left his charity engagement the moment the palace alerted him. There was no hesitation, no pause for discussion. He simply understood the gravity of the situation. Kate, meanwhile, coordinated a complex web of private matters, managing childcare, staff communications, and media inquiries, all while maintaining her poise. Together, they became the stabilizing force in a palace suddenly defined by tension, uncertainty, and whispered speculation. Sources close to the royal household reveal that William assumed de facto responsibilities almost immediately. He attended emergency meetings with senior advisors, reviewing schedules, public commitments, and internal protocols, ensuring that continuity of leadership was maintained despite his father being incapacitated. Every decision he made seemed deliberate, each step reinforcing stability. Kate played a critical role behind the scenes, not just as a supportive partner, but as an active guide. Her interventions reassured staff, managed sensitive information, and helped maintain public calm during a period when speculation threatened to overwhelm the palace. Observers suggest that this unfolding scenario was more than a temporary response. It highlighted a subtle yet powerful shift in the monarchy's internal dynamics. With Charles temporarily sidelined, William and Kate emerged as the immediate face of leadership. Their measured, methodical actions stood in stark contrast to the chaos surrounding the king's sudden collapse. It was a quiet demonstration of authority, a reassurance that the monarchy's operations could withstand crisis and that the next generation was prepared to step into the spotlight. Meanwhile, the palace scrambled to manage optics, tighten security, and control media access. Reports of Camilla's involvement circulated in hushed tones, amplifying speculation. Every glance, every movement of William and Kate, and even the pauses in public statements, were analyzed by observers and journalists alike. Each decision, from appearances to press interactions, became a symbol of how the monarchy could adapt in real time. For the public, this was a defining moment. The monarchy's continuity no longer appeared solely dependent on Charles's presence. It now rested on the actions of William and Kate. Their calm, deliberate, and coordinated response offered reassurance that the crown could endure unexpected crises. In these tense hours, it was evident that leadership was not just inherited, it was demonstrated. The incident became a subtle yet undeniable showcase of the monarchy's adaptability, resilience, and the emerging influence of its future king and queen. Media, public reaction, and political fallout. News of King Charles's sudden collapse spread like wildfire, igniting an unprecedented media frenzy. Within minutes, related to the incident, were trending globally. King Charles' collapse, royal emergency, and Camilla's secret. Every network, from BBC to CNN, covered the event live, replaying flashes from outside Buckingham Palace and speculating on what might have caused the monarch to falter. Social media amplified every whisper, turning speculation into viral debates. Experts, former aides, and royal commentators offered their opinions, some suggesting a hidden health crisis, others pointing to an emotional betrayal or even political maneuvering behind palace walls. The public reaction was equally intense. Citizens across the UK and the Commonwealth expressed shock and concern. Conversations erupted not only about Charles's health, but also about the very stability of the monarchy. Every unanswered question created more uncertainty. Was this collapse a mere health incident, or did it reveal deeper fractures in royal trust? People shared theories online, from Camilla's secret actions to potential power shifts in the royal family, often mixing fact, rumor, and conjecture. The palace's initial silence only fueled speculation. In an era of instant communication, gaps in official information became magnified crises, leaving audiences hungry for clarity. Government officials quickly entered the picture. Sources report that private briefings were requested by top ministers, with questions directed at the king's ability to continue fulfilling constitutional duties. Discussions about the potential need for a regency surfaced in Parliament, reflecting the seriousness of the incident. Across the Commonwealth, leaders closely monitored developments. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and other nations awaited updates, concerned not just for Charles's well-being, but for the continuity of governance tied to the monarchy. Analysts observed that what might have seemed like a private royal crisis quickly evolved into an international political concern. Media coverage revealed vulnerabilities in royal communication. The delayed response from Camilla, combined with minimal official statements, allowed speculation to dominate headlines. Each pause, each carefully chosen word or absence thereof, was dissected by journalists and the public alike. Newsrooms replayed past interviews, revisited Camilla's public appearances, and compared them with Charles's known health history. Commentary shifted from empathy to skepticism, and social media amplified scrutiny. Public trust, long considered a stabilizing factor for the monarchy, suddenly became fragile. The palace faced the challenge of maintaining authority in real time while under intense scrutiny. Meanwhile, William and Kate managed immediate operational concerns within the palace, but outside, the narrative was largely uncontrollable. Analysts pointed out that the incident represented more than a health scare. It exposed cracks in the monarchy's image of invincibility. The combination of media scrutiny, political inquiries, and social speculation created a multi-layered crisis, one that threatened public confidence and demanded a strategic response. The monarchy now faced a dual challenge: protecting the king's health and reputation while restoring public faith, proving that even centuries-old institutions must adapt to modern pressures and transparency demands. This shocking incident has left the world watching every move of King Charles, Camilla, William, and Kate. The collapse wasn't just a health scare, it was a revelation of vulnerabilities, trust, and power within the monarchy. Secrets have surfaced, alliances are tested, and the monarchy's future hangs in the balance. As the palace works to stabilize the situation, questions remain. What exactly did Camilla do? How will Charles recover? Will William and Kate permanently step into stronger roles? The coming days will decide the monarchy's path forward. If you want to stay updated on every development and uncover the full truth behind this royal crisis, make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'll continue breaking down every shocking detail as it unfolds. Remember, this isn't just a story about one king, it's a story about power, trust, and the challenges of a monarchy under pressure. Stay with us, because the next chapter could change everything.